One sec. I love it till it gives me that little announcement that like recording in progress too. So like, I can edit if I need to say something. It's a little crazy. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my podcast, which is called Cohen's Corner. We're building that up. Um, I have two friends of mine here that I met through my networking group, and they have an incredible story. And I wanted to bring it to all you guys today. First off, we have Alexis Lopez. Hi, Alexis. How are you?
I'm wonderful. I'm excited to be here. So thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. And we have Andreas. I'm going to go with this with the pronunciation of the name because it's right in front of me, just like we discussed. And it's Alexis's shoulder is blocking me a little bit, but it is far. Uh, all right, help me out.
Lidis.
Farmakalidis. I was halfway there.
Yes.
Farmakalidis.
In
Okay,
the Greek, it means very handsome.
that's awesome. Right, right, right. My last name is Cohen, which usually means probably accountant or lawyer. Unfortunately.
That's good. I'm glad you're our friend.
Yeah, I'm, but I'm not. I mean, I can refer them, but I don't know anything. I got a private investigator in the family, but that's about it. But we go from there. But yeah, you guys have such an incredible story, and both of you, and all of your story revolves around music, and that's what I love. Because like I work as a mobile DJ myself. I got some musicians and some singers in my family too. Uh, Mainly that do like cantorial work in like the Jewish community, but I just love all types of singing and performing. So I think it's great. So before we get to all that, I want Andreas, you were telling me about about kind of your background first, about how you had like how did you start in music, first of all? Let's start with that.
Well, I come from a family of musicians. My
Mm-hmm.
dad is a musician. My grandfather is a musician. Everybody plays music. All my brothers are musicians. So I grew up, in that environment. So it was kind of an inevitable thing. you know,
There was no
Mm-hmm.
escape.
there was no escaping the music. So I grew
Right.
up in that amazing music environment, and I grew up in Cyprus.
Mm-hmm.
Cyprus, if you all know, is a small island in the Eastern Mediterranean below Greece.
Okay.
Amazing place. Not much to do there, but it's great.
Right.
So anyway, I grew up in Cyprus in that music music environment, and then I was doing music lessons all my life, either
Mm-hmm.
through family or through private lessons. Eventually, I joined the army band there for my
Oh wow.
obligatory service. So I did the army band for 26 months, and after that, I went out to be a professional musician.
Mm-hmm.
Which
And
you did well.
Yeah. So
Negative.
let me step by step. I did my first tour when I was 17 years old. Actually, I was still in high school, and I did my first tour with
mm-hmm.
the European Union. The European Union formed a band to promote music from other cultures. So Cyprus formed a band. I was part of the Cyprus band, 17
Mm-hmm.
year old, and I was out of high school for a month. That was, imagine being in high school, being on tour for a month. It was amazing. No absences, no nothing. And I did the tour of Western Europe, France, Germany,
Mm-hmm.
Belgium, Luxembourg, for a month, and it was great. That was my first tour, and that's when I actually decided, hey, I like this.
Mm-hmm.
I should be a professional musician.
Right.
Yeah, so then I went to Netherlands. I studied in the conservatory. I went to Boston. I got another degree in jazz-based performance.
Mm-hmm.
I got my master's in composition, and then
Wow.
I was actually on the road. And it's funny, my first gigs were actually the biggest one. One of my first recordings I've ever did in my life professionally
Mm-hmm.
was with Marty Friedman from Megadeth.
Yeah.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah,
So
Tokyo
cool.
Jukebox 1, Tokyo Jukebox 2. They got the Grammy. I didn't get the Grammy. I just play on the record.
Right.
You
Right.
get the recognition.
I get the recognition. But through that, because even though I was a trained jazz musician, my first credits were these hard rock bands, right? So after that, 99% of the gigs I got were this hard
Right.
rock,
Metal.
metal scene. So it
Right.
was Nadler, Guns N' Roses. I shared the stage with them, and Candlebox, White Tie Affair. I play on the same record with Billy Sheehan.
Mm-hmm.
These are big, big hard rock names.
That's amazing. I mean, especially being from Greece, because like when people think of Greece and they going to visit and people coming from there, the only thing I hear from there is like Mamma Mia, right?
Yeah,
I mean, just from America, that's all. And it's like Mamma Mia, and you went from Mamma Mia to Megadeth. I mean, how
yeah,
cool
Right.
is that,
Nice. You changed
right?
it up. It's good.
Yeah, it's a good change, from
Yeah.
from the Meryl Streep and the Three Daughters or whatever the hell that was, but you moved on to that, and Megadeth is amazing, and now, going into that, moving from that, you're here in California, San Fernando Valley, and you're helping with kids, and you guys, and what you're doing is you're running for the LAUSD school board. I mean, I knew that in advance, but the sign in the background kind of gives it away.
So yeah, when we will always be teaching on the side, me and
Mhm.
Alexis and many other friends of mine, all the musicians teach as well. So I have something steady because when you're on the road, you're going for 3 months, you still need a home base. So
Right.
we always been teaching, and when we talk with Alexis, we realize, oh, we actually like this, and we're good at it.
Yeah. We
Mhm.
we enjoy kids. We enjoy teaching. It was like a happy marriage. We were not married at the time, but we were
Right.
actually realizing, oh, we love people, and
Yeah.
people who love music. We would bond, and they're like, oh, I want to learn more. So teaching felt really natural. It's really natural, and almost felt like our calling. We
Right.
realized we were both good at. We had a similar vision
Hmm.
for how we wanted to do it,
Okay.
and so when we got more serious about it, we talked about it and we said, I was like, well, I want a stage. And he's like, well, I want a recording studio in our music school. And so we have those very things. The stage is there and the recording
Right.
studio right behind the camera.
Yeah, I
And
need to get over there and check it out.
yeah,
Yeah.
and we do music nights every month,
Hmm.
and we do recording sessions. Like after lessons, we'll go in and do music for films and documentaries.
Okay.
So we keep active outside of lessons, and it's been really great. It doesn't stop at the music. When you meet so many people that come in and want to take lessons, you realize, oh my gosh, there's a whole world out there.
Right.
Of course, you know, because from touring, but it's a different world that we haven't experienced yet. And so these kids that were coming in didn't have school music in their schools,
Hmm.
and so we realized we need to get in some schools. So we started teaching in schools. We do after
Okay.
school programs, in school programs, and we would see these schools and how they're running and budgets and different things. You just kind of learn the more you go in, the more you spend time in the community, and it led to him wanting to really improve the schools. And he's also he left out one thing. He's on the Chamber of Commerce board of directors, the executive board of directors, and he actually does the treasurer. He's been the treasurer for 2 years, and now he's going to be chair elect. But
Oh
in
wow.
that he's been the treasurer, there was like a $15,000 debt that he, turned around and fixed and
Right.
improved their situation, and he's like, I need to do this on a bigger scale.
That's great.
So it's really it's really inspiring for me to watch. I've done music and touring
Yeah.
and recording and all that as well, but I thought I married a musician, but there's so much more to this life, and you
Yeah.
realize you find more inside yourself. And I am
Right.
so inspired to watch him go for this. This is a tall order, and he's got some really talented people that are also candidates running as well. And so
Right.
see him in that running, I think it's not just me. We have an event this Saturday at 12:30, and it's his
Yes.
camping kickoff. And we're so surprised at how many people are coming, how many people are coming out to show their support.
Yeah.
It's very humbling.
Yeah.
You're fighting the good fight. There's a lot of battles in this life, but
Right.
to be in charge and really confront the things that are challenging, that it's hard to tackle schools and money
Yeah.
and all and
So when I decided to do this, right,
Hmm.
I saw that first of all, there's a problem. The schools in the area don't have music.
Right. Right.
Number one. So 1 out of 7 schools have music. But then I saw that on paper, there's actually a lot of money for music, about $1 billion.
in the
Oh
LA.
wow. Never knew that.
But it's not been allocated correctly. That's why none of the schools have music. So
Right.
there's problem number one. So then I tried to solve it by writing letters, contacting the board. Nobody
Yeah.
wants to do anything. So then it's time for me to step up and run for the seat and try to improve the school system.
Yeah.
No,
And
that's
I'm not into politics. I will be honest. When he first brought this to me, I was like, "You want to do what? You want run where? No one's chasing you." And he's like, "Run for this."
Let's be a little more specific.
I know he was, and I was messing with him, and I really I had to come to terms with it. And the more we talked, the more I realized his goals and he has, I'll share a quick story.
Yeah.
His brother is 16. His little brother. He has two brothers. His younger brother is 16 years younger than him, and came one year to visit. He was just gonna visit. There was an issue with going back home, so he ended up staying for a year, and he was in the LAUSD school system for a year. And this is a boy, he was 16 when he came. He's not into school. He was kind of, an average student.
Right.
Maybe
like every 16-year-old.
Yeah, he was
right.
about girls and other things.
Yeah.
But he came here after being 16 years in the European system and was ahead of all of his classmates.
Oh wow.
So we teach and we work with the school system. We work with kids in this LAUSD school, and it was very clear to us that the European system has some advanced things or something that Americans really could, learn a thing or two. And so the fact that you were in that school system, it just seems the fact that you want to run, and we saw that was such a in our face experience, that he was ahead. He aced all the tests. He looked even cuter to all the girls because he was so and it really, you get taken aback and you're like, what are we missing? What are we missing? And Grace is like, well, I would want to, let me look at this because maybe there's something I can contribute.
Yeah.
And, that's a very selfless thing, in my opinion, to shift your career and want to really help and make a difference. It's not the most thankful job.
It's okay.
You probably hear more complaints than compliments, but you work, what I know about him is that he'll stay up all night and find the solution.
Right.
He's that hardworking beast, and I know a lot will get done with him on there. So I'm excited. I'm working. I always say, at least, I'm not a man of many words, but I'm a man of meaningful actions.
That's great. Yeah. And that's actions are more important because when you're dealing with words can only get you so far, and they can get you past where you need to go, whereas actions do what you're actions are exactly what needs to be done.
From a touring musician, ended up being a movie composer / studio, and then we ended up owning a music school that has a studio and a stage.
Right.
Vendors, educators, and now we're tackling the education of California.
Yeah, it's like the Jeffersons moving on up, and Alexis, now you have, aside from being an American Idol top 11, I said it right, the top 11 of season 1. Aside from that, you've had an incredible musical background yourself.
Yes. So American Idol was a huge kickoff. Before that was when I was 17. But before that, I found music at a very young age, which I was very, very grateful for. I realize now how much it helps your life when you have direction. When you have direction at a young age, when you have a passion, when you have something driving you. So at a very young age, I knew I wanted to learn piano, learn guitar. I was always singing. My dad owned a Mexican food restaurant called
cool.
And he had great plans. He always wanted to grow. It just started out as a restaurant, and I was a little kid watching him grow this restaurant into. He added a bar. It was very fancy. People could come sit down and order a drink, and it was a very fancy bar. And then he later added a karaoke area nights.
Okay.
Karaoke nights, and I was probably like 8, 9 or somewhere in there, and I was watching them sing, and my mom was not a singer, but she turned into one after she met my dad.
Right.
And they would sing all the time, and my dad was like, you need to get up and sing, just go sing. And I was
Yeah.
like, okay. And so I'd sing and I'd stand there like a brick and I'd sing my song. But the more I did it, the easier it got and the more fun it got and the more,
Yeah.
and it's such a big deal when you see a positive response to something you're doing. So it made me want to do it more. And, I would get good feedback and people are like, oh, sing another one. I love when you sing. And I'm like, okay. And so it turned into this domino effect of I started doing more competitions. I would do
Right.
talent shows around town. I took these they were like junior college courses for music, and
Oh, okay.
I wanted to learn a lot, and I was still in like middle school and then high school, and then by the time I was 17, I heard about this Fox show doing an audition in Los Angeles. Now
Right.
I just got my license,
Mm-hmm.
so it was not my mom's favorite idea that I
No.
ever brought her. I'm like, Mom, I want to take the car and I'm going to go to Los Angeles. I want to
Right.
audition for this Fox show. It's not out yet, but this is the first season and I want to
Yeah.
audition. Like, there's going to be many opportunities. You don't have to do this one. Wait till you're older. And I'm like, no, Mom, I have to do it now. Like, I don't know why, but I felt this pull to do it right now. And
Yeah,
so
and you're in the prime demo. Yeah, I mean.
yeah, none of us in the first season knew what it was going to become. We
Right.
had no idea. We heard of it. We knew it was going to be on Fox, but we didn't know. There's a lot of shows that come and go, and the pilot will be okay, and sometimes they fall off. And so we were genuinely there to sing. We were so excited to
Right.
just sing our hearts out and do what we love to do. And then it turned, by the time it was like the top 10, it exploded. This was the year that Kelly Clarkson won. And
Right.
so,
That's right.
yeah, it was great. And the audition process was wild. So I drove down from Modesto, my little town in Modesto. It's like an hour.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's far.
I drove by myself and waited from, it was like 3 a.m. or something like that till noon the next day.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I was singing for 10 seconds.
Right.
And I was a senior in high school and I missed the final. And, it would have all been a waste if I didn't make that first one. And so I was very grateful to, you go in and you're like cattle, you're just a number. And then they say you're going to Hollywood and you're like, okay. And I honestly thought I was waiting to find out. Before I found out, there was this round, this first round where you're in front of the producers. You're not actually on camera yet. So you go in this room and there's like 10 producers lined up, and they have you sing for 10 seconds, and the girl she was not good, and she was not a great singer, and I was like, oh, I was rooting for her because we were talking in line. We were in line the whole time for hours, and she didn't do as well, and so she made it to the next round. When I went and saw my number, I saw her number right next to me, and I was like, is this a real show? Like, what kind of show is this? Because it was strange. Like, I could tell she missed some notes, and so I was sure about this show. And when we went in for the next little audition round, she went in before me, and she came out crying, and I'm like, oh no. I'm like,
right.
Okay, so that all came to be very clear what that was, and I was actually nervous because you don't know what they're looking for. You don't know, like, I might get home too, and I was like, okay, I don't know. So I went in and I sang my song, and I just, you just give it your all, and it's on camera, recorded, and everything, so everyone can go see this first audition that I ever did. I was very nervous, but I just sang my heart out. They stopped me in the middle of singing. They put their hand up, and they're like, stop. They're like, they had a conversation, and I was just sitting there watching them talk, and it was Paula Abdul, Simon Cowell, and Randy Jackson.
Right.
And then Paula's like, but she had a good go at it. And I was like, okay, I don't know what they're going to say. And they all agree, and they're like, you're going to Hollywood. And I was like, oh my, I think I screamed on the spot. I screamed for sure. It was a very good experience. They flew me back. It went from 300 to like 160, and then it went to 90, and then it went to 60. And then I was in the top 30. And then there was a wild card round. I made this wild card round. Okay. And that was exciting because it was only 5 of us that got brought back to fill this 10th spot, because it was the top 10 at that point. So I didn't make that round, but it was the top 11 that I made, and I was 17 years old. It was my first audition ever, and here's the product of meeting Andreas.
Yes.
Famous.
Bye.
experience. And now that I teach, I tell all my students, if you want to do this, go for it. You don't know what
Right.
will come. And since then, I've been recording in studios. I've been a vocal producer in 2 different recording studios, and so now we work together and some of our students write, and so we
Okay.
encourage them. And he actually has a record label that we put some of our students on and some of
Oh,
our
wow.
teachers too, and it's called California Music Box Records.
Oh,
And
okay.
so we're encouraging kids to write because they have the best ideas. They have no filter, no
Right.
insecurity. They're just being honest
Yeah.
and singing their songs. And so we want to catch that while it's in their infancy. They're little
Yeah.
kids. So we put it out there on Spotify, on all
Oh,
kinds of.
okay.
And
We'll put up, yeah, send me what you have and we'll put up the links. I'll put up links for
yeah,
it and stuff. But no, that's amazing because I'm thinking of the writing because I there's a lot of places, where you can learn music and different things, but you guys have such a great edge because both of you being in those different types of business from American Idol, from Megadeth, from Greece, from Modesto. But it's like, for you don't get a lot of that variety. Also the writing, I mean, because I do comedy and I do comedy writing, which is a little different, but you can perform it, but if you don't have it in your heart and you don't write about it and you don't know what you're singing about or you're talking about, or have that drive to do it, it's just a performance, So I like how you're doing it where you say performance. Yeah, performance is one element and it's a very important one, but here's the other side of it. Learn to write your music, learn to mix, so that way we don't have to throw like a backtrack on you or something like that. I think that's amazing because I personally have not seen anything like that before, and I think that's great.
That's what makes our teaching style also very unique, right?
Hmm.
Here in the California Music Box, most of our teachers are, they come from a performance background.
Right.
So we don't just teach the kids, how to read and write and play. We teach
Yeah.
them how to perform it, how to do it on stage, how to,
Right.
change it on the spot, make it more exciting, which is,
Yeah.
the tools of the trade.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll get sometimes, and it's different every time. Like sometimes I'm doing a guitar lesson with a student, and they're like, I came up with these
Hmm.
chords, and I like this order, and I want to do it, and they'll show me their chords. I'm like, okay. I'm like, do
Yeah.
you write stories? Do you journal? And they're like, oh yeah. And I'm like, pull out your journal and
Hmm.
use some of your words and write a song to it. And they're like, oh, and, these little minds get so opened up, and
Right.
they go after it, and they come back with amazing music. And
Yeah.
some of them are still like, I really like this band and I want to learn
Hmm.
it. And that inspires a lot too, because some of them will come back, I wrote a story and I shared
Right.
it in my class today. And I was like, you don't know where it will take you, but it'll
Right.
inspire so much. And they said, it came from, they have all these different inspirations, and nothing holds them back. When
Right.
they know that the floodgate is open and they can create, or they can write, or they can share it how they want or express it how they want,
Yeah.
will. And
Yeah.
adult, and all of us watching, we're reminded of like where it started, why we got into this.
Right.
And it's always great to have that why, to remember why you started. Because
Yeah.
we're very picky about the teachers we bring in here.
Hmm.
We know how music can be a challenge to earn money. it's
Yeah.
it's a, it's a hard one to make a living. And some people will stick at it and they'll have a separate job and they'll come in. And some teachers are kind of, I don't want to use the word jaded, because that is very there's a feeling that happens once you have, maybe you're trying, or you didn't reach the goals you wanted, or things like
Right.
that. And if you forget why you started, it is very easy to fall into a feeling that doesn't translate well to kids. You
Right.
want that active, still going for it, still performing, still writing. And so we
Hmm.
have a lot of teachers still active in the business currently. And well, they
No,
all
that's
are.
great. That's great because there's so much more. I mean, current. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, just different styles
Yeah.
to learn
They
different.
just they so much the lessons, and it inspires so much. So we do like recitals every year,
Hmm.
and we do jam sessions every month.
Oh, cool.
And yeah, and we try to incorporate, any events we do with the chamber or with the
Hmm.
community. we'll invite the students, like whoever's ready to perform, like get up and sing one or get up and play piano,
Yeah,
and so that's been a really great experience for the kids too.
that's
And
great because just for them to get comfortable with everything too, not just like, okay, we're gonna have one recital and everybody's gonna look at you. Here's your five different opportunities to do
right,
it, where you're gonna have support, and you're gonna have support, and people are there to also enjoy themselves and not, have 50 people with video cameras, you know,
yeah,
Yeah.
looking for footage for their upcoming bar mitzvah. So, so it's got to balance out at some point with
yeah,
all that. But
yeah. It's
no,
really
that's great. Like when my son's old enough, we'll be there. Of course, I want him to do music more than sports. Because like
yeah.
sports
And
is
we can also
good.
plan a play date.
Yeah, we're
Maybe
doing play date. We're gonna get that set up. We're gonna get
I
that
love
set up.
it.
Yeah,
But
music is very important, and that's. Let me go back to the elections just to
yes, absolutely. Yeah.
my shameless flag. Music, it is very important. We grew up with music in schools. I think. I think you
I
guys had
did.
music
I had
in
it
school.
every school that I went to, like all the way through high school.
Mm-hmm.
You had the option to play an instrument.
And I always say that music saved our lives. It shaped my life for sure. I mean,
Right.
I'm a business owner. We are musicians. We are business owners. So yeah, it's something that should be in education, not only for the benefits that you get from music. It's just part of daily life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. We
And
actually.
oh, go ahead. Go
Oh,
ahead.
sorry. I was just gonna share
Yeah.
at our jam sessions. They're open, they're free, like anyone can come. And so we get business owners from some of our
Mm-hmm.
networking groups who will come and play. And he's like,
That's
yeah,
cool.
I run this massive lighting company that does airports and
Mm-hmm.
malls. And they put up lights all around the world. But
Yeah.
he'll come and play ukulele because that's been something very close to his heart for his whole life. And so he'll come and play, and that's a great experience for the kids to see, get different songs, get different
Right.
exposure. And so, we're really like, I have this sign up here, but it,
Yeah.
it was totally last second that we just threw it up. But
No, it's
but
good. I like it. It's good. It's
but
good.
what it means is how much he's fighting for the safety of kids and
Mm-hmm.
and to support kids growth
Right.
emotionally, mentally. And music does so much of that. There's so much science behind it. And so
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we're on the fight to put music back in schools and
Yeah.
make it available to kids. And that's really the mission right now.
Yeah.
We're on a mission. Like
Yeah.
Saturday, come join our mission.
Mm-hmm.
We're rallying the troops on Saturday.
Absolutely. And I love this the slogan too, education above politics too, because that that when people are running for different things, especially in the schools, you don't see a lot of it. It's like, action, like you're a man of action. It's going to be working on the education, not working on your next term. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
that.
Right. Leave the
Right.
politics to the adults. Leave the kids
Right.
out of it. The
Leave the
kids.
kids out of it. Like, we're here to
Yeah.
work with kids, not gimmicks.
Right.
Not things like that. So
The kids'
it's
needs need
cool.
to be met. That's
Oh,
it.
and then I have a funny. I'm not, I can't tell it on air right now, but I have a funny American Idol story. I'll tell you after this about about a former contestant. Actually, you know what? Screw it. So
Yeah.
I'll screw it. So William Hung, who was he there that day with you?
No, he's from a different season, but I know I've seen his videos, and I
Okay.
think he lives in LA.
I could have sworn he was season 1. Okay, so this is my only American. Okay, I have 2 American Idol stories, and they're very quick. So the first American Idol story is William Hung. I wanted to book him for a pro wrestling match I was promoting. So then he writes me, he wanted $5,000 to come and do a wrestling match, and I'm like, dude, you are working and you are doing shout outs for $30 on Cameo. I am not paying you $5,000, dude. I'm sorry.
He's singing. Was that for him to sing?
I wanted him to sing a song. I
Okay.
wanted him to sing "She Bangs" and then be at ringside, to do like a shtick. So
Yeah.
he wanted $5,000. Now the second one is I went to an American Idol taping. Okay,
Oh,
so this was really funny. So we went to one in Vegas, and then I said to them, I said, so like when you go to American Idol, well, you were 17 years old, but people around that age are mostly in the crowd up front. Okay. So myself, I look like a combination between Jay Leno and John Lovitz. So when I walk into the studio and they see me and I'm like, should I be sitting in the back so the kids can sit up front for the camera? And they're like, fine, we'll put you in the middle. So I ended up on camera like the whole time, which I was shocked with, because they even admit they always put like the models and they call them the casted audience up front. So I'm watching, I'm watching Idol, like one of the finales, and I could like see myself in the crowd, but I'm like around all these kids, and I'm like, I don't know how this looks, but this was kind of funny.
How
Um,
cool you got to be there though. That's amazing.
yeah,
What
it
a
was
great
cool.
experience. It's
Yeah,
it's it was magical for me to watch Kelly Clarkson perform and rehearse in backstage, and
yeah,
we saw her work so hard. She deserved that win. Like she worked
yeah.
harder than everyone. And so I
I'm
was really
yeah.
grateful to be a part of that season and get
No,
to
that's
experience.
great. I mean, she seems cool, and like
She's
I
great.
remember Ryan Seacrest, before Ryan Seacrest did Idol, he was working out here on like the radio. I mean, he still has his radio gig, but he was over at CSUN in a booth on 4th of July promoting Kiss FM. And I remember like seeing him, and I had a
Yeah.
booth. I was in a booth like promoting something like 2 doors over and just talking with him, and like he was a cool guy. But the one guy who I feel really bad for on American Idol, I mean, I don't necessarily feel bad for him because, like, I mean, I guess he's doing good. That one guy who was the co-host with Ryan Seacrest, and then like he left
Yeah, I don't
after
know
the
what
first.
happened with that. He did the first season. It was
Yeah,
Ryan and Ryan. So it was Ryan Seacrest and
yeah,
Brian Dunkelman.
right. Brian
And
Dunkelman. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I heard an interview with him on Howard Stern, right? And Howard Stern was just like pounding on him, going like, "Dude, come on! What were you thinking? He's been on the show for like 20 years, dude. He does stand up and stuff, which is great, but like, you're just sitting there going, come on." Like,
yeah, I don't
sorry.
know what happened with that, but I know I remember the second season he wasn't there.
Right,
And
right. It's like you watch a sitcom, and where the sitcom character goes upstairs on the first season and you never see him again. With like
yeah,
Happy Days, they had the guy, the kid bouncing on the ball, and then you never see him again, and then the last
yeah.
season,
No,
like when American Idol, when they had the very last thing, he'll do
they
something.
had a lot of changes. So the first season didn't allow original songs, which I was
Okay,
writing a mad person, but I couldn't
right.
see any of those. And then they didn't allow instruments either. And it was
Wow.
the first season, so we didn't have a lot of cleared songs. We had like
Yeah.
10 or 11 cleared songs. And so I didn't they were older, like I was a little kid and I didn't know them
Yeah.
yet. Like I'd heard them before, but now I know them. They were like
Yeah.
ain't mountain high, ain't no
Right.
valley low. But when I was like 16, 17, I was like, I didn't know that song yet. So
No.
I remember saying I Will Survive, and I was
Right.
like, okay, I know that one. My
That's a
mom
good
sang
one.
that all the time. So
Right.
but yeah, now they have a bunch of cleared everything. You can do songs that just came out a few weeks ago. You can do
Right.
they'll bring the artist on to perform it with you. Like now you can play your
Play
instruments.
guitar, yeah.
Yeah.
Like guitar.
So they've really come a long way. And
Right.
so it would be nice to be on that later season, like my mom suggested, but
Yeah.
I could have been a part of that OG season one,
Right.
and I'm really grateful that I got to be a part of the original
You
gang.
you were there,
Yeah.
right? You were there when everything was just starting to happen, and when they were working on stuff and tweaking it, and you
Yeah.
got to do more because of that, and you weren't bogged down to the cookie cutter formula we're at like season 24 or whatever it is, where okay,
Right.
we're gonna have the same, this we'll throw in a couple things here, but you got to do what you got to do, and I think you got
Yeah.
I think that worked out better for you, on that. So I think it's really
Yeah.
cool.
Now, so there's like it tripled and quadrupled the line. Like now, the second season, everyone knew what they
Right.
were signing up for. So there was
Right.
a whole lot more signups. Like
Yeah. Right.
it's
Yeah.
become a
America's
big
Got Talent,
show.
I think, was like that
It went
too.
back, um,
Right. Cool.
it was a great experience.
Definitely. All right. I know you guys have to have stuff going on today, but I wanted to wrap things up. Thank you guys so much. We're gonna hang out soon, definitely, and thank you guys for coming. Okay, I'm gonna
Thank you for having.
no problem. I'm gonna stop recording. So.